Hello, my name is Megan Bauer,
Melissa Vogt.
and we're here to present on using graphic organizers to teach writing.
I use graphic organizers a lot in the classroom, so here are some definitions of what graphic organizers are. A visual and verbal representation of the key vocabulary of learning a task in relation to the more inclusive or subsuming vocabulary concepts that have previously been learned by the student.
A graphic organizer provides learners with a visual representation of information, concepts, and ideas. Graphic organizers are often used to help children understand what they are reading or to organize information in order to report it, such as through writing, or for oral presentations like a speech. Graphic organizers can be used to take notes while listening to a lecture.
Graphic organizers are visual and spatial displays that make relationships between related facts and concepts more apparent.
So, in brief, graphic organizers are used to help students organize their information so that they can use them further along down their learning process. Specifically, in our case, we'll be looking at how they can use them to further their writing. So before we give you more information about what graphic organizers are, take a second to complete our entrance ticket. In this, you'll need to list and discuss with your fellow group mates the many different graphic organizers that you can in 1 minute. So set a timer, and then take a few seconds to discuss with someone and compare what graphic organizers you were able to come up with. Please pause the video to complete this activity. If you have some ideas of what different graphic organizers you use, let's talk about why we need to use the graphic organizers. So we found that graphic organizers help to teach students how to chunk information in their brains. It helps them to keep their mind on a specific topic. Students find it easier to write and pick out key ideas from information when writing informational reports. They can compare and contrast two or more concepts. It helps them to synthesize similar topics and information to write in argumentative writing, and they can critically analyze text in order to construct supporting arguments. So as experienced writers, we have already gained these skills. However, as we are teaching developing writers, we need to model and teach these different skills. This can be done by using the different type of graphic organizers. Graphic organizers are great because they can be created and altered to meet the required goal of the lesson that is being taught. So here you see that we can use graphic organizers to do argumentative essays, informational, explanational, so you can use them for any different type of writing that you're using in your classroom.
Organizers can be used for all different types of writing. They can also be used for all the different stages of writing. So pre-writing, drafting, editing, and revising. Pre-writing, the students will be able to plan their writing and plan out their topics and thoughts. Drafting, they'll be able to take the plan that they have and put it into a full piece. And then editing and revising helps the students see what info they already have and what info they still need to review to add to their writing.
Teaching graphic organizers, some of your students may be reluctant to use them during the planning stage. This could be a problem for some students, but some students may not require them. But some students are reluctant because they don't know how to use a graphic organizer. They don't recognize what they do in the graphic organizer when they're actually writing their piece. So they don't go back and look at what they wrote in the graphic organizer when they're writing their draft. So it's really not any more helpful to them. So they don't, or they could just not find the planning helpful. Maybe they're more of a type of student who just likes to free write. Or they think it's time consuming and they just don't want to do it. But using graphic organizers can help students move past these reasons and help them to plan properly so that they can complete a final piece.
Scaffold writers when using graphic organizers. Scaffolding student writing is the key to success. Teachers should model how to use all the different types of graphic organizers for writing and what benefits it has to the outcome of the student's writing. A study was completed in 2010 based on the effect of graphic organizers and how teachers scaffolded and provided feedback to the students. The results of the study were the students' ideas improved the feedback they were given on the specific graphic organizers. The feedback also allowed the students to go back to their organizers, make any changes to make things more clear for them, and to begin their writing. Students also felt that feedback made their writing and organizer clearer.
So as teachers, we can provide students with this effective feedback so that they can go back and change what they need to change in their planning stage before they get into the drafting stage. And this will help our students to be better planners and better drafters in the future. Just like most things we use in our classroom, we want to be able to scaffold students when using graphic organizers so that they can be able to learn how to do the process properly. So we begin by modeling how to use the graphic organizer, guide the students to use a graphic organizer on their own through guided practice, work to have the students use the graphic organizers independently when they feel the process is needed, and then gradually remove the graphic organizers so that once the students learn the process on their own. So for example, a teacher may use a pre-writing or drafting graphic organizer to show students how to begin writing. The teacher will want to model how to use this organizer and then slowly remove support until the students are filling them out independently. The teacher will then work with the students to learn about what is taking place in each of the graphic organizers so that the student can begin to do it without the organizer. The teacher can then remove the graphic organizer one at a time, and this can be done at the pace that the student needs it to be done. So a student may need to use a graphic organizer for a full year, while another student may only need to use it for a month. This is really based on the student's learning process. If they're able to learn it quicker, then they won't need that graphic organizer anymore to help them.
Organizers help students to learn how to internalize the writing process so that when they are tested on it, they're able to do it on their own. As we prepare our students to take achievement tests, we need to remember that graphic organizers are proven to increase student test scores as well as classroom achievement. When using graphic organizers, they become a part of the basic instruction and can integrate into all subject areas, not just writing. First, the graphics help students understand and learn the subject. Second, they help students focus their energies on studying the essential information. Third, they serve as effective devices for helping students focus on relationships between main ideas and details, main ideas and other main ideas, and so forth.
For what graphic organizers you should use with your students, there's a few things that you should keep in mind about how you can implement them in your classroom. Graphic organizers should be explicitly taught to the students for maximum impact. So you should go through the stages of the teaching process: modeling, guided instruction, independent instruction, so that the students can have full exposure of the graphic organizers. The graphic organizers should also be spatially grouped together or connect the concepts so that readers are more likely to perceive them as being interrelated and to draw perceptual information about their relationships. So you don't want a graphic organizer that's too busy or that's not busy enough. You want to make sure that the information is grouped properly for the purpose that you're going to be using it for. And you should also make sure that graphic organizers should not be clustered with lots of information. Readers should easily perceive the phenomenon and relationships that are important. So again, you don't want them to be too busy so that the students aren't able to understand the relationships that are happening in the graphic organizer. That'll make it hard for them to be able to take the information from their graphic organizer and put it into their writing.
Organizers are great to use, especially for students with specific learning disabilities. They provide the students with visual representation when planning their writing. A study was done back in 2011 where 4th and 5th grade boys with specific learning disabilities used the use of graphic organizers. The variables that were measured were total number of words, total minutes planning, number of common story elements, and overall organization. The results were that there was an increase in number of words written, increase in planning time, and the boys used more story elements, which overall increased their writing.
Growing use of multimedia purposes in the classroom, there are a lot of great computer-generated programs that allow students to create multimedia graphic organizers on the computer. The one that we will be showing you today is Kidspiration, and this allows students to use pictures to create their graphic organizers. This is especially important for those developing writers so that they are using pictures as opposed to writing in their planning stage. We'll show you a short video on how Kidspiration can be used.
In picture view, students use graphic organizers to develop ideas, organize and categorize information, and express and share thoughts. Young learners can navigate Kidspiration easily, all on their own. Everything students need is right at their fingertips. For emerging readers, all buttons, menus, and text in the program are represented by icons. A talking interface reads text aloud and supports literacy development. The main idea symbol provides a starting point. To begin, students simply enter text. With the Add Symbol tool, new ideas are added with a click. Early readers use Kidspiration's collection of more than 3,000 symbols to convey ideas and information. Symbol categories support kindergarten to 5th grade curriculum. To find just the perfect image or picture, students search for symbols using keywords in the symbol search function. To create their own symbols, students use the Symbol Maker drawing tool. This allows them to add important personal elements to their graphic organizers. Students use the Link tool to show relationships between ideas and demonstrate comprehension.
An example of a graphic organizer that was created on Kidscape based on the topic of why I would want Amelia Bedelia to babysit me after reading the text. The student used what they have in this graphic organizer to then write a piece about this topic. So as you can see in this graphic organizer, the student was able to link all the different information that she learned in the book to her writing process. Within Kidspiration, the students can then use the picture-created graphic organizers to organize their writing in a drafting stage. So this is the draft that the student made after making the web about Amelia Bedelia to show that she understood the topic. So this is her writing. So she will make me happy, I can blame stuff on her, and it shows how the student was able to use the graphic organizer in their writing.
3 different examples of graphic organizers. The first one is a web graphic organizer. Students can use this graphic organizer to place their main topic in the center bubble and then write all the information and details they know about that topic in the bubbles that surround it, which will help them plan them for their writing. The next one is the compare and contrast graphic organizers. This will be done when students are comparing and contrasting something in their writing, obviously. And the last one is a sequence, which can be used when students are trying to write a story or put something in sequence where they can follow the arrows with the bubbles to help flow their writing better.
So now it's time for you to discuss what you know about graphic organizers and what you've learned from our presentation. So take a few minutes to discuss with those around you what experiences you have with using graphic organizers to teach writing, and what benefits do you think graphic organizers provide. Please pause the video now to discuss these questions.
Discuss the questions. Here you will see a typical hamburger graphic organizers that many teachers use in their classroom. This is a very fun and engaging way for students to plot and plan their writing. So what type of lesson would you use the hamburger graphic organizer for? Discuss and share your ideas. Please pause the video.
Completed the discussion questions, please take time to complete the activities that follow. Using the hamburger graphic organizer that you just discussed, please now answer this writing prompt based on the graphic organizer. So you'll fill out both the graphic organizer and make a writing prompt based on the prompt, I like Saturday because. Take time to do that and pause our video, please.
A web graphic organizer that is provided for you in the folder lists all the characteristics of a good writing habits. Take time to pause the video and discuss what writing habits you put in the bubbles.
Now that you've completed both of these activities with your group, take time to reflect on these activities and how they can be used in your classroom. How did using the hamburger graphic organizer help you plan for the writing process? Was it easier or harder for you to write after filling in the graphic organizer? And how do you think your students will use this graphic organizer? And then for activity number 2, based on the web that you created, what kind of activity could you use this for with your students to help them further their writing? Please pause the video and discuss these questions.
Our graphic organizers can be used during any stage of the writing process to help the students organize ideas and thoughts. They're a great way to scaffold writers to become a better writer.
Now that you've learned so much about graphic organizers and how you can use them in their classroom, please take time to complete our exit ticket. What have you learned about graphic organizers and their effect on writing? Compare your entrance ticket with your exit ticket and discuss them with your groups. Please pause the video to complete this activity.
Assignment is to return to your classroom, take a look at your current writing lesson, find and bring in a graphic organizer that you can use with your student to scaffold this lesson. Implement it and then come back ready to discuss how the lesson went and what you used your graphic organizer for.
When completing your assignment, we've included some resources to help you with this. The article, Top Level Structure, Why Use Graphic Organizers to Scaffold Developing Writers, can be found in your folder. You can use this to help you guide the scaffolding process. It gives a great breakdown of the steps that you can take when scaffolding your students and why scaffolding is so important in the writing process.
Additional resources, we provided you with some links on how to use your graphic organizers for your students, another article on how graphic organizers improve reading comprehension, writing, listening, note-taking, and study skills, and we also provided the link for the Kidspiration graphic organizer website for you to use in your classroom with your students.
Here are the references we used to complete this activity.
Just what is